Cowboys Nation, what's good? What's good? Welcome back to another episode of StarChasers Girls Talk Ball. Thank you all so much for joining us this Wednesday evening. As always, I got my girl Star in the building here with Craven Cowboys. How you doing tonight, sis?
What's up? What's up, everybody? Glad to be here for another episode of Star Chasers Girls Talk Ball. Really excited to be here again. I'm gonna play a button. That still will you let me know if you can hear that in the chat? I'm trying to
Yes.
get my buttons right, guys, because I've noticed when I'm watching the stream back that they're kind of low. So I don't know if they're low to y'all while I'm playing it or if they're just low on the replay. So if y'all can let me know how my buttons sound,
Yeah.
that'd be great. But what's up to Jeff Clark? I know we'll have more people joining in. This is our new show time. We used to start at 7, but now we start at
Yeah.
6. So, yeah, so really, really great to be here. I know when y'all come in, please like the video if you haven't already. As Dak Owens 50 said, likes up. So please like
Yeah.
the video. Please share the video, please, on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever. Share the video,
Right.
and please subscribe to our YouTube channel if y'all haven't done so already.
Yeah. Just like Star was saying, yeah, hit likes and shares on all platforms. Donate to our cash apps. If you guys are, feeling, nice tonight and willing to donate, make sure you guys do that as well. If you listen on Twitter, the Facebook group, thank you, Jeff Clark, for tuning in. Also, thank you guys, and like she said, everybody coming in. Thank you for being active in the chat. It kind of keeps us,
Yeah,
kind of engaged with you all as well. And actually, kind of, keeps the show going as well. Able to kind of, Jeff Clark, is jumping, jumping right in, talking about the head coach. You guys seen the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about the head coach search today. We've seen, some moves, going, over the weekend, with the, playoff games going on. Of course, we see our division mates, start, let's go ahead and jump right into it. What are your thoughts about our, so-called, used to be little brothers in the division, now playing in the NFC Championship while we get to sit back and watch, and some of our former players, former coaches. Sis, let's hear your thoughts on this, because I know as our fans, we're wilding out right now.
I'm not gonna lie. It's very difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult. Um, seeing what's up, Nisi.
Hey,
Difficult seeing our little brothers who hadn't been to a NFC championship longer. They had a longer drought than we had.
yes,
And turn around, now
just
we're the
just like that.
just I put on the thumbnail, we're the least in the East. Y'all see I put quotation marks. Least in the
Yeah,
East.
yeah,
Right now it's looking like Dallas is the bottom of the East. People are like scared because they're like, wow, the Giants get Cam Ward or they get Shadur Sanders, they're like, we gonna
right.
get in trouble. Like, so I totally get the panic of Cowboys Nation. Uh, I totally get it. I mean, again, this is not something that
You there, Star? It look like you might have froze up, Star. See if you can go out and come back in right quick. It just this doesn't normally happen. It used to happen a while ago. When we start our shows off. But yeah, see if you can go out and come back in, sis. I'm gonna go ahead and let her know that she's frozen up. Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. She's gonna go ahead and go out and come back in. Let me fix this overlay right quick. And yeah. While Star kind of goes out and comes back in. Yeah, like she said, talking about the head coach search. Well, actually, no, talking about our division mates being in the NFC Championship is kind of, at least for me. I'll go ahead and give my thoughts. I'm definitely shocked, seeing some of our former players, former coaches who was, just here, just last season, literally. Of course, we know Dan Quinn is the defensive coordinator. There goes Star. There she go. There she go. She came back in. Can you hear us? It's look like it's kind of a lag, sis. Can you hear us? Okay, I can hear you. It's kind of
yeah, I can hear y'all. Can
yeah.
y'all hear me?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you now, but yeah, your image is kind of going slow, but it's probably gonna catch up as we go along. But I was just giving my thoughts, talking about how we had Dan Quinn, Joe Witt just here last season. Of course, we know we had
I
Armstrong,
can hear
Fowler,
y'all.
who were some of these guys who were.
Y'all can't hear
Yeah,
me,
I can hear you. No, we can hear you. Chat, let me know. Let us
or
know
you
if you can hear Star because I can
can't
hear
hear
you.
me.
I can hear you. Your audio was kind of skipping though. Okay, yeah, see if she can she'll shoot. Try to see if she can go out and come back in. But yeah, like I was saying, having guys like Armstrong, Fowler, who some fans and even me personally asking for these guys to get more snaps because even with the limited amount of snaps that Fowler was getting on the field, we did see some impact. He was getting to the backfield, getting to the quarterback. Armstrong as well. I think it was 2022 that he had I think 8 sacks. Kind of I don't want to say just played the cleanup guy, but he had a lot of impact, being some of those, these were guys who were kind of secondary on our team. All right, yeah, you're looking good now.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, good.
All right, bet. All right, chat, let us know. Chat, let us know if you can let us know if you can hear Star and see her. Man, what's going on? But yeah, just seeing some of our, seeing these guys, then we can still see Fowler and Armstrong still having that impact. While on Washington's defense, we saw Fowler, having some, having I don't know the exact number, but having sacks
Yeah.
this year. Let me see.
Um,
Um,
what was I saying?
Nisha says
Oh,
she says she sees
we
you, but
were
just
just
can't
talking
hear.
about. Oh, oh no, it went out again.
Yeah. Okay. One second, guys. Just work with me for a second. All right. Let me fix this. All right, bet. She said she's going to try to see if she can reset her internet, and then of course like she does go out and come back in. But like we were talking about having these guys on our roster last season, and then just seeing this past weekend, seeing Fowler and Armstrong have some big impact, especially on some of those final drives out there. Like it was, you know. These guys, weren't exactly, I'm saying, staples, on our defense. Even when Dan Quinn was here, he did get used to them, but of course we've seen more use with Parsons, right? When we had D Law, you know, yeah. Nisa says it's still skipping. She says she's gonna try to go out and come back in, but yeah, like I was saying, it's just seeing these guys still have the impact this season. What's up, Swain? How you doing? We do, we both are here, but Star's gonna go out and come back in and see if she can get her internet set up. But Swain says, can you talk about possible names for coaching that would be a shock signing? Yeah, we're definitely going to get to the head coach search. Just currently, right now, we're talking about seeing Washington and seeing Washington and Philly, of course, playing the NFC Championship. And like I said, I'll give my thoughts. Definitely not happy. Of course, Philly, kind of just kind of a really just, I guess I'll say a bug in my drink is kind of just like seeing Kellen Moore. I don't say have success, but and just in my opinion, I feel like Saquon is a big deal in why they're having success. Jalen Hurts, I believe he had a touchdown, this past game, and it wasn't just a goal line touchdown. He was able to get a good run, and just in my opinion, just as far as I'm concerned, I'm not really sure why they're really still running Jalen Hurts like that because I think, with him having some issues this year with concussions and, taking a lot of hits, I think, that's the reason why you have Barkley. That's the reason why you have, those backups as well. I forget their backup running back name right now. I believe it's Kenneth Gainwell. That's the reason why you have those guys so that way they can, take those runs. And I understand, he's a mobile quarterback and, that's part of his game. But sometimes like we talked about with Dak, this season and of course past season when he kind of had an injury to his lower body, we kind of talk about maybe I don't want to say limiting the quarterback, but maybe just kind of going. I hate to say safe, but kind of going a little bit of safer route, so that way you're not putting him in so many situations where he may take those hits. And Washington's defense. We've seen, and that's kind of what was interesting about seeing these two teams play against each other is because. We know that with the history of Philly and Washington does sometimes have a leg up on Philly, even some years when we weren't able to. They've been one of the few teams to be able to stop the tush push, or the brotherly shove, as they like to call it sometimes. But I feel like I think it's a good matchup. You know what I'm saying? I was hoping to see them maybe like in the wild card round. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not the championship round, but I was definitely hoping to see them in wild card, just kind of face each other because I just feel like those two teams kind of know each other's secrets. They play each other very, very well. It's usually a physical battle, when those two go up against each other. So I think with Washington's defense, I think they're going to know Dan Quinn. Very familiar with Jalen Hurts, but him knowing that he's going to have to. I think have a spy for Jalen Hurts. Of course, game plan for Barkley. We know, I think he's had 200 plus yards in both these playoff games, the past couple of weeks. And of course, we know about his record breaking season this past in 2024. So seeing these two teams go up against each other, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a really good battle. Of course, love seeing the NFC East. I guess in that regard, kind of being held up, what I'm saying, doing very well for our division, but it does. To me, it kind of took the wind out of me this weekend. It was hard, especially them being the Lions, especially about how bad we lost to the Lions. I don't know, what Washington's game looked like when they faced the Lions earlier this season, but they kind of took over the game, and Lions were pretty much out of it. I think late third quarter going into the fourth. So I just think, kudos to Washington. So I didn't think that they would, be able to, open up a camera, kind of whoop up on the Lions like that. But shout out to them, and I think that that's something they have something to show for themselves. Rookie quarterback. Everyone's interested. I'm already seeing tweets and commentators saying that he's already in the elite tier of quarterbacks. Being his first year out. And of course, Washington needed a quarterback. They needed a weapon. At that position. Of course, adding playmakers around him. Adding a run game. Brian Robinson. Has been pretty much essential to their run game this season and really their success. And what's up, sis?
What's
Hopefully,
up?
we're doing good now. Let us know if you can see Star, and let us know if you can hear you guys.
Yeah, y'all let me know it's working. I'm hardwired in now directly to my modem and not on the Wi-Fi, so hopefully it's working.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I can. Yeah, it seems to be running.
Okay.
All right, cool. Y'all were just talking about Washington, about them having the rookie quarterback in Daniels. They've been able to the run game this season. Brian Robinson. Just I was talking about the matchup. I just, in my opinion, I think Washington is a great, great matchup for Philly because
Yeah.
they're able to stop their tush push. They have they pretty much play each other pretty physical. I'm saying they've been able to beat them. In recent seasons. So I was just saying that I think it's going to be a really good matchup coming up this weekend because I think that if you had sent anybody to face Philly, especially in the playoffs, or someone to maybe find a weak spot or a sore spot for Philly, is definitely Washington. So
Right.
I'm thinking, and it's one hand. On one hand, it's one thing to plan for maybe a team you never played before in the playoffs, or a team that you may not be familiar with, or hey, let's see how we can deal with what they throw at us. But I'm very interested to see two teams who know each other very, very well, how they play in the playoff game. And they may know their secrets, but hey, people pull out new things in the playoffs. But I think Washington could be the team to find their secrets, if you will. Especially I was talking about how DQ, the familiarity with Jalen Hurts, and familiarity with Philly, familiarity with Kellen as well. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
we've seen that matchup before as well.
Absolutely. And I got I got Washington Commanders beating Philly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't feel myself they about to beat them. I know everybody's like, well, Saquon, he went off, he went off for 200 combined yards every time he faced them. And I'm like, okay, guys, I'm just trying to tell y'all, like, Dan Quinn knows how to stop Philly. He hasn't really had an issue. He knows how to stop Saquon, and I just feel like that team's got nothing to lose. This is a divisional opponent. And honestly, who's who's whose offense is better?
Right.
Philly's offense is literally Saquon or bust.
Yeah.
It is Saquon or bust. So that tells me if Washington can limit Saquon,
Yeah, and I was talking about that too, about how their defense is going to be hungry to get after Saquon. I'm saying maybe
exactly, they're gonna be hungry. They're gonna sell out to stop Saquon, and they're gonna tell
yeah,
Jalen Hurts beat them.
yeah, and I think they have the edges to be able to play contain. You know what I'm saying, whether it's Hurts or whether it is Barkley, who has the ball coming out the backfield. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And after I tell people, I was like, listen, we could handle Philly when Dan Quinn had average, bad to average linebackers and bad to average DBs. So he's upgraded his linebacker core and his DT core significantly.
Yeah.
And Jaden
That
Daniels,
rookie, I forget his name, but that rookie has been playing, very well behind Allen, very well.
Jordan Newton, he's been
Yeah,
playing amazing. I wanted Jordan Newton.
yeah,
And then from Illinois, and then Jaden Daniels is just playing out of his mind. Like,
yeah.
now granted, a lot of their stuff, and I think Jaden Daniels, ooh, what's up, Bot?
Hey, what's up, Bosh? How you doing?
What's
Nice to
up,
see
Bot?
you.
Glad to see you.
And me, just me. Thank you for joining us as well, and David as well, jumping in.
I'm telling you, they're gonna stop. I know y'all think that Saquon is about to do all of this, but I'm trying to tell you, Jaden Daniels and a lot of the things with Washington is execution. So I do think that Jaden Daniels is gonna get exposed next year. I definitely think he's gonna get exposed.
Yeah, that's another point I wanted to bring up about.
The
I mean,
they
not
offer
comparing them. We see CJ. You know what I'm saying? Let's
right,
let's let's pull back some of the. Yeah, let's pull back some of
exactly.
the. Right.
I'm not crowning. I'm not crowning Jaden Daniels, but I'm also not gonna deny what I've seen from him this year.
Right.
And this year shows the kid has ice in his veins. He's fearless. He's pretty much everything you would want. He's making high level throws. Now, granted, I said a lot of their stuff is execution. Like people will say, "Oh, it was all Jaden Daniels." I'm like, Jaden Daniels literally threw a screen pass to Terry McLaurin behind the line of scrimmage, and Terry got a touchdown. So y'all
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that Cliff Kingsbury has that offense rolling. Now, granted, Philly is the number. Well, they were. I don't know what their rank is now, but Philly was the number one defense. Well, I think they're probably still, even if they're not number one, they're still top five.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Philly can't stop them. I'm just saying I feel like at the end of the day, the battle is Kellen Moore versus Dan Quinn,
Yeah,
right?
and I can see them using their aggressiveness, at times, and maybe being over aggressive. Because we see sometimes how Jalen Carter plays, sometimes how Dean plays coming out the backfield, maybe trying to make the play up the middle. But we could possibly see maybe Kingsbury maybe trying to be elusive about the backfield, maybe like you said, having those screen passes. I'm saying just kind of taking advantage of those guys being aggressive at the line. So like you said, it just. I think it's gonna be an interesting matchup, and like you said, like I agree with you about Jaden Daniels for sure. Like I definitely give props. You know what I'm saying? Because he played well against us in the first game and the second game. They got their give back. You know what I'm saying? So in their last few games, I believe since the first time we played, not the second game, but the first time, they hadn't lost a meeting since then. So they were definitely on the roll. You know what I'm saying? Finishing out the season and be able to come out as a wild card. I don't know if they were the lowest seed or 6 or 7 seed. You know what I'm saying? Being able to now get the championship with the rookie quarterback, new head coach. You know what I'm saying? New ownership, things like that coming into this year. So like you said, they're definitely on the burner. You know what I'm saying? I think that the team that could, like you said, take out Philly and actually I think it could be a close game, but I think they could be, a team that could actually whoop up on them, saying they could kind of get them at the right time, like kind of how they did the Lions, get them at the right time, the right
Right.
position,
Exactly.
strike maybe with them turnovers. You know what I'm saying? It could definitely turn the game on the dime.
That's what is Dan Quinn and Joe Whitton known for? The turnovers.
Right.
How did they win this past game versus
Exactly.
the
I'm
turnovers?
telling you. I'm
Now,
telling you.
if they don't get no turnovers and Saquon runs crazy, yes, I think they will lose.
Yeah.
But if they can implement the same game plan they did versus the Lions, who I think personnel wise is better than Philly,
Yeah.
I do think Philly
Yes, for
can get
sure.
got. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me personally, I just believe it now.
Yeah. And
I just am very confident that the Washington Commanders are about to do.
Yeah, I feel you, sis. Because like you said, and Philly does have the firepower, but it's like you said, sometimes it's about how they spread the ball around. It's about how they operate their
Right? They
offense.
spread the ball around, and they have, Diami Brown. He's making crazy plays.
And I'm
I
surprised.
don't know
Like
where he came
he's
from,
really
but
showing out.
I mean, Jaden. He's become one of Jaden Daniels' favorite targets.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
even more,
I didn't know he was the rookie that they drafted. I didn't know that he was their
yeah,
draft pick. So I'm very surprised. And now learning that, I'm like, I said, oh,
not
like you
this
said,
year. Diami Brown been there for a while.
oh,
Yeah, no,
I
that's like
didn't know.
Diami Brown. I think he's like a third year. This shit, this baby is fourth year. Diami Brown been there, haven't
Oh
done it yet.
wow,
That's why it's shocking to me how all of a sudden,
he's showing. Yeah, he's
I mean,
showing. He's
he's
gonna be
making
showing out.
big plays for
Yeah,
Jaden.
yeah, and big, yeah, and not just and down the field plays too. Like there's some of those bombs he throws. I'm very surprised. I'm
Yeah,
very surprised at seeing him show out.
like that kid. He's I mean, Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind this year. Again,
Yeah,
I think the tables are gonna turn on him next year because that's usually what happens. But I think this year, like he's just playing really good. He's really locked into that offense. And Cliff
yeah,
Kingsbury, he seems to be calling his ass off. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, people that say this is a trend with Cliff. The first 2 years, his offense is, or first year or whatever, his offense is explosive, and then it just tails down. And they were saying that because they were like Washington's offense had trended down toward the end of the year, but you look and see what they're doing in playoffs. So I don't know.
yeah, yeah. And I'm like, just to, speaking again about Brown, to see him go off 2 weeks in a row in the playoffs, like I'm saying, like you said, someone who hasn't really had that much burn. I'm saying I'm happy that they're. That's we talk about getting different guys involved. That's what we talk about with. At least I was talking about with our offense, getting different guys involved to see what they can attribute to the game. What their characteristics are, and kind of get that kind of that semblance with the quarterback, so that way what you can use the guys for, instead of constantly hitting up CD, constantly up CD. Okay, well that's not working. Where can we go? For me, it's about our offense and just spreading that ball around consistently, not just hitting up CD. 5, 10 plays in a row, and then when it's not working, okay, now every single we can go. Well, now they have CD, double covered, and then of course they know you're gonna try to go with somebody else, and then by that time, the game, can be out of hand. So like just to kind of sum up, shout out to Washington. Like hopefully they do beat Philly. Hopefully they, have a good showing out this weekend. And shout out, on the AFC side too. Shout out to the Bills. Making this championship. Once again we're gonna see them facing the Chiefs. A story we've seen before, but let's see if it ends different, right? I mean, we saw earlier in the season that
What to happen? I will. Oh, go ahead, sis. I didn't want to.
No. I was just saying, we've seen, Josh able to kind of get that off his shoulder for the regular season, but let's see if he can, kind of cement that in the playoffs, and see if he can, finally get at Patrick Mahomes.
Yep, I think it's gonna be interesting. I think a lot of people got the Bills counted out, but I don't. I know a lot of people are like, it's Patrick Mahomes. Da, da, da. I'm like, listen, the Bills are built different this year.
Yeah.
This isn't the Bills of old where it's finesse and it's Josh Allen or butts. Joe Brady has built a real scheme around Josh Allen. He has built a serious run game. So, I
Yeah, not just let me cut you off. Not just with Cook anymore, but now it's kind of spread to Ray Davis. Now it's kind of spread to Ty
yeah,
Johnson.
and
You see
Joe
them kind of
Brady
getting
tweaked
more
that
backs
because
involved.
he wasn't even running Ray Davis really in the season. Now,
Right,
now
right.
he's running a tandem. So I don't know, guys. Like it's really gonna be with the AFC. I know everybody's like, you don't count out Patrick Mahomes. I understand that. Will they likely win? Yes, and they're gonna be at home. But I'm just like, I'm not gonna discount the Bills because again, that's a different type of team. It's not
Right.
Josh Allen or bust. Josh Allen is
Yeah,
not.
their defense, no man, and they're another team that's been kind of hit, and for some reason, like when they get injuries, it's I don't want to say always because knock on wood, but it seems to most of the time be their defense, right? But they always still seem to kind of climb out. Milano, I think,
They're,
came back
they're
last season. They always fight tough.
they always fight tough in playoffs. I know people that statistically they're not the best defense with all the the stat nerds or whatever, but I'm like
Yeah,
they're playing pretty tough. This season, and I do think they're gonna play. They're gonna play tough. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I
yeah. And
don't
they
know.
be getting the turnovers too. They were they were getting interceptions. They were recovering fumbles too. Like they were
Right?
playing that game.
Isn't it crazy though how when Dan Quinn was here, we would be praying. And shout out to Dynasty Football. I don't know, Vach, you still in here? I did shout you out, but I want to shout you out again because
Yeah.
y'all know Vach is. I say Law is the goat, Vach is the mini goat. They're like right here. So
You're right.
I know all of y'all know Vach. I don't know if he's still in here, but shout out to
Yeah.
Vach. I appreciate him so much and the work he's
Yeah. Lee Harrison as well.
especially in the scouting. Lee, me, just me. Really appreciate everybody. And they said, "What kind of karma is Jerry dealing with? This is terrible." Commanders and
And that's this is literally what this season slash off
yeah,
season is
it's
Jerry is his
it's looking
karma.
pretty bad, and it's come to show like Jerry. If you had to just got now with Kellen Moore, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not giving Kellen Moore credit because I've looked at the passing scheme. It's
No.
still terrible. Again, if they didn't have Saquon, yikes. But
Right, because we don't see a lot of we're talking about the Bills.
it does show this about Kellen. If you give him elite weapons, he can
Yeah.
win with it because it's like he on a group project. You know
Yeah.
what
Look, just put your name right here on the line, all right?
So that's what Kellen's doing. I'm not getting fooled by Kellen in this because I'm actually looking at him. And then you see
Right.
Philly people. They're like, people talking about, oh, well, Saquon and Kellen's doing different stuff with his team. I was like, no, he is not. Kellen is doing exactly what he did here. Run up the A gap. Saquon is just so dynamic.
Right.
He can
Right.
take an inside zone play with the way that offensive line blocks to the house.
Yeah.
Like that game, Kellen was trying to lose in that game. Saquon just ended up breaking like a 50-yard run and saving your asses. So that's pretty much what it is. It's Saquon save us or we're doomed. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I think, when it comes to us, I mean, one thing I would say, I'm gonna be honest, and maybe I'm in Delulu land, that's fine, but I'm not really worried about the Washington Commanders or Philly. Because it just seems that we just have these teams numbered. You know what I'm saying? They're division rivals. You see, everybody be scared of Philly and the Commanders, but like these are your division rivals, like you're not scared of them because you play them all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and it doesn't matter how super roster these guys have, we still are able to at least split with them. Now, obviously, we got swept by Philly because Philly's not good enough to where if you don't have your starters, you just gonna beat them. You know what I'm saying? Or they're not bad enough. Well, clearly we split with the Washington Commanders and we swept the Giants. So I just think I'm with the division opponents right now. I think we look like the Leafs. I'm not gonna lie, we look like we at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah,
but I think things can change around quickly. It just all depends on the moves that this front office makes. I know y'all probably like, what's it? What moves?
Right. Like
I know, in the past, we feel like we do the same stuff, shopping at the bargain basement and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think that I don't know if fan morale has ever been this low, and people are like, listen, I'm from the Cowboys fans in the 70s and 80s. They're like, they're like, we lived through the 5-11 season. They're like, I've never seen fan morale this low.
Yeah.
So I feel like Jerry and them, they got some work to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they go back and do the exact same shit they did last off season,
bro. And I feel you. I feel you on that because, like you said, it's one thing if you, like you said, and I'm not saying I want Kellen, but you said if you do bring your favorite guy in here, or like we've been hearing, like we kind of been hearing like around the circle, like, are you more inclined to give him, more, be acting free agency because he's your guy, or are you going to get your guy, but you're still going to be, I'm saying, you're not making any move. You're still going to be sitting back, chilling, not being active, not bringing in the right players. Like if that's your guy, you're gonna let him bring in his guys as far as the staff, but they'll be more active in free agency. We could see maybe a jump in the offense because you said, Kellen did produce the number one offense with Dak. You know what I'm saying? He did lead the league, I believe, in touchdown. Interception ratio was, I think, at his lowest for his career. You know what I'm saying? So we did see, I don't like to say Kellen do that for Dak because I do believe that it was Dak's ability who was able to get him to that. But we have seen the impact of Kellen's offense. I think a couple years in a row where he had the number one offense in the league. So
yeah,
like
go ahead.
not gonna say like so, like you said, if they're able to bring in pieces for Kellen, I'm not gonna say I'll be excited for it, but if he's your guy and you're willing to make moves because he's your guy, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, it's still hell no to Kellen Moore. I don't care how many weapons they bring in. Hell no, hell no. I think that Kellen Moore is just not my main issue with Kellen is you are not a leader of men. You are not a leader of men. Again,
Right,
you are not a leader of men, and that is a huge characteristic that a head coach is. I don't care how good you are, X's and O's and what's that, all that stuff. That's all great. But Dallas Cowboys need someone who can come in here and actually get some type of culture going, right? Kellen Moore coming here, even if Jerry and them get him all the weapons in the world, Kellen at the helm has shown me his play calling wise, he still has not grown to where you want him to grow, right? That's
right,
my issue with Kellen. Your passing game is still aggressive option route. You still do not believe in the run. You're literally only running the ball now because Nick Sirianni told you after you weren't running the ball the first half of the season, hey, this is some running team, you run the ball.
right, right.
So that's it. So you
And you were,
the
I
key.
think,
Go ahead.
I think in a way of we saw Amari Cooper speaking about not getting his receptions. I think instead of speaking out, I think AJ Brown finding time to read on the sideline.
Exactly. You see what I'm talking about? Like Kellen Moore's system is a number one wide receiver killer. Why? Because Kellen's system is not predicated on target your playmaker, do mismatch,
Right.
matchup, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
More
Exactly that.
predicated on aggressively take what the defense gives you. So that's why when he was here in 2021 and we had elite talent in CD Lamb, Amari Cooper,
Right.
Michael Gallup, Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott. When we had elite talent here, Kellen didn't know what. That's another thing. Thank you, guy. This man had elite talent here in Dallas in 2021. And you know what
Yeah.
he did in the playoff game? He gave Tony Pollard 5 carries, or I think it was 4, gave Zeke 6 carries. Remember, yeah. So he gave Tony Pollard like 4 or 6 carries, Zeke like 6 carries, and targeted Amari Cooper maybe like 5 times. CD Lamb maybe 4. Like we can't do it. In his option route
Yeah.
system, you see, it worked when Amari was here because Amari could really do those option routes. Same thing
Right.
with Colts. That's why Killen's offense in 2021 looked so good. And then in 2022 looked good because remember we started basically ground and pound because
Yeah.
Dak went out 6 weeks and stuff like that, and we had Tony Pollard and Zeke. They were the best running back duo. So that's really why we were able to keep afloat, even though we ain't have no damn weapons. We only had CD, and that was it. We had CD in a run game, that was it.
Right.
But unfortunately, when we got to the playoffs, TP goes down. What did Kellen muster up? 12 points. Remember, we lost that game 12-19.
Man.
So this is what it is with Kellen. Against bad defenses and against static defenses, meaning like defenses who don't disguise, his option routes can tear you up. He will tear you up. But when he goes against those real good defensive coordinators that know how to confuse and disguise and do all of this fancy stuff,
Yeah.
Kellen don't know what to do. He doesn't. In his passing game, he wants to be a pass first guy, but it's like, Kellen, you have not evolved your passing game because there's no counters in it. The way you can mitigate that is the run game, but you don't believe in it. So what happens when you give a guy, you're saying you're the head coach, you have full control. You don't have Nick Sirianni or Mike McCarthy looking over his shoulder like, hey, you need to run the ball.
Right.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And so we're
Mm-hmm.
having another repeat of 2021. Shout out to Boss Cowboy because he said Kellen is a tease. His offense gonna tease you all year where you gonna think you good and you gonna win 12 games. And then when you get to that big game and you feel like, okay, we should win. We can win. We can beat these guys. His offense puts up 10, 12, 14 points. So, but ultimately, even with that, like, we need somebody that can come in here with some real energy and it really ignite and excite these guys. I'm tired of our head coach just being a very like stoic figure. I feel like Jason Garrett was like that. Mike McCarthy was
Yeah,
like that. It's like
yeah,
I need somebody, with
yeah.
the
Wade Phillips. Yeah, like I don't think I, like you
like
said, guys like that. Like I don't
like
think I. Yeah,
and like these guys are snooze fest. Like I'm ready for somebody on the sideline like
yeah,
screaming and running. Whoa! Like that's what
yeah,
I need energy. I need
yeah.
energy because when you're flat as a pancake, how you expect your team to be? How you expect your
Exactly.
team to be riled up when they coach is flat as a damn pancake?
Yeah, and
So go ahead.
no. Actually, speaking to that point, just kind of transferring that to Brian Schottenheimer getting a second interview, this week today, or I'm not sure exactly what day, I think it was
Yeah, he got
reported.
another one.
It was today.
He did one
Okay.
today for 3.5 hours, and according to 30 minutes ago, he is still in his interview that started about 3 hours.
Are you serious?
Yes. So they've been in
Oh wow.
interviews with him.
I'm wondering where all the interest came from. Like because we were talking about there in the season, we're actually sitting trying to figure out what he's in this no disrespect, we're actually trying to figure out what he contributes. Like we know he works with the run scheme. He worked with Shimko, worked with McCarthy, but McCarthy was the one calling the play. So I'm just wondering where.
I told people, I said, what Brian was doing is Brian actually was doing the installs, and Law actually backed me up on that. He said it. He said it on the final word. So when it comes to the actual installation of our actual plays, when it comes to the actual developing of the script for each game, the game plan,
Okay.
that's all shoddy, right? And so Mike was pretty much in an overseer type of role, but Mike spent
Okay.
most of his time with the quarterbacks. And Mike said that all the time. He was like,
Yeah.
I'm with the quarterback 24/7. Like that's where I'm at. So the rest of the complete orchestration of how the and hammering the details, the fundamentals, all that stuff, that was shot.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Oh,
what
okay.
Shotty was doing. So even though Shotty wasn't calling the play, there's a rumor that he started calling the plays toward the end of the season, but that's a rumor. I don't have confirmation on that. But I do think that Johnny was definitely very involved with the offense because Mike McCarthy, because usually if Mike McCarthy was going to do the installs, you usually would have your play caller be your OC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mike clearly brought had Shotty because he knew his ass wasn't doing no damn installs. Mike was not doing it. He was not going to be the guy down there telling people run your route again. Like that's
Right.
not
Right.
Mike McCarthy. So
Right, and that's why I brought up Shawnee because he is the I'm not gonna say the one guy because there's several coaches down there, but I'm saying the main guy I would see on the sideline, and then at training camp during practices,
right,
the guy being hyped up, saying
right.
telling the guy let's go, or on the sideline when the guy makes a play, he's like right there. You always see him in the shot, hyping
Exactly.
the guys up. So I'm not mad at it, and that's really the main thing main thing I love about Shotty. I love how he speaks at his press conferences. I love watching his press because I feel he does offer a lot of information. So there's definitely pros and cons, at least for me. I do love Schottenheimer. Like I love, like I said, the energy he brings to the guys. He does come off as a leader. A lot of guys say that he spends time with them, make sure that they kind of understand the plays. He complimented Tover a lot last season.
Mhm.
Complimented really a lot of these guys. You kind of just see.
Turpin too.
Yeah, you just kind of see how close these guys really are with each other because just of how much the players talk about the coaches and vice versa. And that's another thing. I know we're talking about Shotty, but it just kind of made me think about you said Turpin. It kind of made me think about Bones. Shout out to Bones. I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised he's gone. I don't know if I would thought he was coming back, but I guess with everything going on, shout out to him. Shout out to everybody getting out and doing what's best for them. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yep.
when
That
things are just imploding, you know what I'm saying? Like, what else are you supposed to do?
is exactly, and that's definitely something. Shout out to my guy David. I don't know if y'all shouted you out, but David, Andre Mosley,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
Lamont,
Lamont Graham. Yeah, snuck in here too. Yeah, shout out to everybody.
everybody in the chat. But I'm totally with you, sis. These coaches. It goes back to what Troy Aikman said. Is Dallas really the desirable spot?
Right,
I don't
right.
know. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have candidates like Prime that was interested. You have Bill Belichick that was interested, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Brian Schottenheimer that's interested. You got Robert Saleh that's interested. But when it comes to these hot candidates,
Oh, I'm
when it
sorry, I mean cut you off, but they better not. I see that, David. They better not. We better resign Turpin. We better resign Turpin.
don't resign Turpin, I
Oh,
think we should resign him. But I don't know. The front office really it's really I'm not trying to even sell faith or hopeism or hopium guys
yeah.
because honestly I don't know what they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? But right now this is
Yeah.
the off season, so this is the unknown. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what we can predict. We can say they ain't gonna do shit. We gonna suck. They gonna just get bottom of the barrel. They gonna I don't
Right.
know. You know, based off of the past, I can't blame you for saying none of that. I can't blame you saying. But I'm saying this is the off season, so this is the time where you can have a little bit of hope. And I wanted to kind of share my screen just because Shotty is seeming like he's the top candidate right
Yeah.
now. Of course, I know there's Kellen, but it's hashtag kill no, no hashtag no killing more. I'm sorry,
It should be hell no.
I know it should be hell no, but I'm pretty much just going like anybody. I would rather I'm saying it right here a lot. I would rather Jason Witten, the beloved son of Jerry Jones, to come in here
Mhm.
head
He
coach.
coming too.
Kellen Moore, I need personality. If Kellen Moore was
Yes.
Sean McVay or Kevin O'Connell, just something with a presence, I might be like, actually no, because his team is still terrible, but I would be
Yeah.
a little bit more okay with it.
Yeah.
But no, no.
He
you know,
literally. I mean, we talked about that a couple years ago. Like watching his press
third,
conferences, it's just
supposed
like
to be being your head coach. Like, come on, you can't.
you can't. Like, and we
Like,
we we barely got any info last time he was here. So it's like, what
exactly.
can we really like? What are we information are we really going to get from
Yeah.
what he talks about in press conferences? Because I haven't. I mean, let me my bad. Let me get the overlay off. But I haven't watched any of Philly's press conferences. But I'm not sure if it's probably the same.
No, it's the same. It's horrible. Like this who he is. But y'all check this out. I retweeted it on my Twitter, and this is an article from Blogging with the Boys. It's written by let me see. Now it's written by David Alman. I'm not really sure who he is, but this was a fire article, and
Okay.
he breaks down Shotty thoroughly. Uh, basically like who he is and like his tenure. Shotty has done a lot of stuff that I didn't even know about. So it'd be really interesting if y'all go through there because he breaks down like each of his offenses and people want to just post blanket numbers, but he actually gives the context. Okay, if he had a down year, this is why this happened and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah.
two
I'm gonna have
things.
to check that out too.
Yeah,
Shoot.
check out the article. I did bring up this screenshot because this
Okay.
stood out to me. This is just an excerpt from his article, and it says Schottenheimer's third season in Seattle saw the rise of the let Russ cook movement, calling for a more pass-happy offense for Wilson. Contrary to popular narratives, Schottenheimer actually leaned into it, and the 2020 Seahawks were the most pass-happy offense of the Pete Carroll era by far. It was also one of their least efficient, with Wilson
Mm.
hitting a career high in sacks. After the season, Schottenheimer was let go, and it later came out that Wilson had pushed for his firing. Still to this day, Schottenheimer's tenure as the Seahawks coordinator, which is the most recent experience he has calling plays, remains the most successful year of Wilson's career. Seattle also ranked sixth in EPA per play and ninth in success rate over those 3 years. So uh, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, what happened? He didn't let Russ cook and all this stuff." And it's like, yeah, he did let Russ cook, and that was the demise of Russell Wilson. Because
Yeah.
in those years when Schottenheimer was his coordinator, that was prime Russell Wilson. Everybody was saying Russell was for sure a first ballot Hall of Famer. And
Yeah.
I remember when Dak was due for his first contract, everybody was like, "Get rid of Dak, get us Russell Wilson." Everybody was saying that, but who want Russell Wilson now?
I was just gonna say that's what's happening now. We see him taking a lot of. Well, we saw it at the end of the season. I'll say we saw him taking a lot more hits, a lot more sacks towards the end of the
Right,
season
like
when he couldn't get
Russell
the ball
Wilson,
out.
since he left Schottenheimer, he's been cooked. He's been cooked. Now people are even questioning, is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer? So think
Hmm.
about it. Y'all can go read the whole article, but this was also another excerpt. He said his most recent stretch of calling plays was genuinely great, ranking ahead of the likes of Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and even Kellen Moore over that 3-year span. So
Wow.
when he was in Seattle, his offense ranked ahead of McVay, ahead of Kyle Shanahan, ahead of Kelly. So his entire work does not scream offensive genius, but he's shown a genuine ability to get the best out of his quarterbacks everywhere he's been. Combine that with the relationship Schottenheimer already has with Prescott, and you can start to see why Jerry Jones is perhaps considering his pitch. Whether or not that means Schottenheimer should be the next head coach is an entirely different story, of course, right? So
Yeah, true.
that guy's not just, he's not saying like, okay, I'm saying he absolutely should be the head coach. But what he's saying is, if you actually look at his offenses, every quarterback that he's coached, because he goes in through there, he coached Brett Favre, Chad Pennington, Russell Wilson, another quarterback. Every quarterback that he's coached has had their most successful years under him.
Oh
Or
wow.
has had maybe not Brett Favre, but Brett Favre had a really good. And remember that was at Brett Favre's end of his career when he went to the Jets, and Brett
Yeah.
Favre made the Pro Bowl that year. So
I was
every
just I was just gonna point that out. Like during most of Shotty's press conferences, he would point out a lot of his time with the Jets. You know what I'm saying? Some of the experience he had. You know, when we were kind of going through some of our downtime, he would point out some of
out,
the
what was the Mark Sanchez? Remember y'all took terrible Mark Sanchez to the NFC Championship,
right.
and when Shotty was with the Jets, they went 2 years back to back to the NFC. Sorry, to the AFC championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a guy with 25 years worth of experience. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah. Plus his dad. You know, plus being around these other coaches that have been, yeah, that's been in the league.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we would look at Shotty in a vacuum and say nepotism pick. He's stuck. He's ass. This is just Jerry trying to control things. He's not serious.
Yeah.
But when you look at his resume and get an actual in-depth look at his resume, it's like this guy is pretty good calling plays. Like he's pretty good, and he believes in the run, which is what we believe as fans is what Dak needs, so
Yeah.
that we can start winning the big games. But anyway, I gotta go. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real fast, so I'm gonna turn my camera. I'll be right back.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, just like Sis was saying, like we we possibly need to add to our, of course with that come off an injury, I'm saying, not really wanting to risk him. And that's something I was listening to today on the Cowboys podcast, Media Mash, I believe it was. Of course, I think it was Clarence Hill, Jean Jacques on there, Newey Scruggs on there as well, and Ed Werder. And they were talking about, with Dak coming back off of an injury, and so whether or not they should, was running truly part of Dak Prescott's game, or should we defer to a running back? And I'm saying, should we follow maybe like the Eagles game plan, or they kind of pointed out that now with the NFL, we see more mobile quarterbacks, we see more I think Jaden Daniels had 50 yards this past playoff game. I'm saying, of course, we see Lamar. I know he just lost this past weekend, but this more so in these we talked about the run game last season with the playoff teams that were still in the final rounds. I'm saying their defense is stepping up at the right time. I'm saying we see the run game that they have. I'm saying just seeing the teams that we see there now: Washington, Philly, the Bills, the Chiefs, and I'll say even just kind of stepping out there just for me, I'll say the Chiefs don't even have the strongest run game. Saying out of these four teams left in the playoffs, but I'll say that they still use Pacheco, effectively enough. They still bring in Hunt at the goal line when they need to. I'm saying they, like I say, they, just like I said, just in my opinion, I'm saying just because of how they do have the other weapons. Travis Kelsey, they get the ball out to their other tight ends. I'm saying, just kind of spreading the ball out amongst all their playmakers, but. They do still, make sure that their run game is effective. So I think that's gonna, I see some Andre Mosley saying we need to run the ball. We need to get a running back. I'm saying of course, currently we do have Rico Dowdle. Not sure if they're gonna bring him back or not, but definitely we're going to, maybe target a running back. Two. I know we have. I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna keep.
Two running backs. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
traditionally he likes the tandem. Like with Shotty, if they make Shotty head coach, I know we going to get Genty for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad. I would not be mad because he definitely puts the run first.
right? It's just his commitment to the run game and that's what I feel like we need. We need
That discipline to the run game, exactly.
right. We need. You saw what Dak Prescott did in 2016 with a run game. Now, granted, he had the best year of his career when we ain't had no damn run game. But imagine if we had a run game. So imagine if you can go into those big games like we did in 2016, and you've got a force behind Dak to where it's actually a threat. That way we can get Dak to back to where he is pretty much the best in the league, which is play action pass.
Right.
So those are things that's really been missing from our offense. And it's like Dak is good enough where he can pass it all over the field and win you all of these games in the season. But when he faces the best defenses who are playing too high shell, dropping 7 to 8 in coverage, you're not passing against that. That's why teams started going to too high shell because they're like, listen, we're tired of it. Y'all can run on us all you want. We're stopping the pass. And see, Dallas hasn't caught up because everybody else caught up. They said, okay, y'all are going to be in too high shell.
Right.
We're going to run the ball till you get out of it.
Right. And a lot of check downs we were talking about earlier, the screen plays, what I'm saying, the running backs, they're getting more receptions
Right.
and
Screen plays. Yeah, exactly.
right.
Screens.
Right. The tight ends. The
Right.
tight ends in the middle of the field. Exactly.
Because you just want to sit there and do too high shell all damn day. But Dallas has not caught up. You didn't catch up to Philly. You didn't catch up to the Lions or catch up to Buffalo, catch up to the Ravens, catch up to the Chiefs. They're like, you have
Right.
to run the ball because that's the
Right.
only way. You're not going to be passing the ball and getting explosive plays on too high shell looks. You're just not.
Right.
And Dallas, for the past, since 2021 till now, we have not established that. That's why when we went into the Green Bay game, could we now, granted, I feel like Mike could have stuck with the run, but also Mike abandoned it because we didn't have a play caller that really believes in the run.
Right.
So he abandoned it and he went to his quick pass concepts, and them quick pass concepts got Dak throwing 2 picks.
Right. Right.
Picks. So we need to be able to run the damn ball. We've been saying
Yeah.
it for years, but it's something that's so serious. That's the only way that Dak is going to get over the hump.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about on why you stepped off, like about how these, we talked about last year about the final four team or the, final teams left in the final rounds of the playoffs. They have a run game, they have a great defense. What I'm saying, even these four teams left here, they have a run game, and just in my opinion, I mentioned about the Chiefs, they don't necessarily have the strongest run game out of the four teams left, but they definitely still use, even though you talk about the duo back system, they use Pacheco, they use Hunt at the goal line. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. They use Pacheco, they use Hunt, they use what's their guy's name? Their young fast receiver that has got him.
Worthy
on in the rim. Like when you
on screens, and he been in, like, what I'm saying. So he's been explosive.
That's how these teams are winning. Quick screens, running back screens, running the damn ball. Play defense.
Yeah, the confusion it causes.
Right, it's the confusion. That's how you're gonna win games. And that's why you'll see these more why you see these quarterbacks like Josh Allen. Josh Allen just had the most efficient, pretty much best year of his career. He was a turnover machine. He gets under Joe Brady because they finally get a freaking run game.
Yeah.
He don't turn the ball over no more. Like, this is how the NFL. Now, granted, eventually it's gonna go back to being a passing league, but right now it ain't a passing league if you want to win.
Right. Yeah, and we see with the quarterbacks we're talking about, the mobile quarterbacks, and they don't necessarily have to be. I'm not gonna say necessarily mobile, but we see Jaden Daniels. He had 50 yards, 50 rush yards. Josh Allen had two rush touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So, so more of these quarterbacks are getting more involved in the game as well.
Exactly. That's the trend now, and everybody wants a young athletic quarterback. And I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He can't run no more. Like, we need to get up. But I'm like, listen, guys, if you simply get a run game, it'll take away the rest of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to have a mobile quarterback. It is fun. It's fun when you have a more mobile quarterback. Easier to score in a red zone for sure when you have a mobile quarterback. You can see all the teams doing it. Lamar, Josh Allen.
Even Bryce Young, I saw towards the end of the season. I'm like, okay, you running now? Anthony Richardson, you know what I'm saying? All these young QBs.
Like, all these young QBs, they're running. But my thing is, or let me not say that. I think that it's the trend 100%, but you don't have to have that in order to win. You just have to have your team properly set up. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Steelers, they had their division, and they didn't have the number one run game in the league. You know,
Right.
they had Harris. You know what I'm saying, but Patterson was out for a little bit. You know, but they
Exactly.
were passing the ball a lot.
Exactly. Like so, you definitely can just have the balance on the offense. The offense to me just needs to be balanced. And yeah, you can be an athletic
Yeah,
quarterback, but when you face a better DC, they're gonna limit all that running.
yeah,
Like all that running, they're gonna limit that. Now, some people like Josh Allen, he's really hard to limit because he's just a huge man. So when he just runs through people. Like that's Josh Allen's game. Like he runs through people because he's so huge. It takes like 3 to 4 defenders to get him down. So that's the difference. And it's like Dak used to be like that. But we paid Dak a lot of money, and once Dak started getting hurt, we're like hell no, hell no. So I
yeah. But I mean, also that pressure came from just the mic that I heard earlier on the podcast from Media Mash. You know, they were talking about whether the pressure came from not necessarily Clarence Hill because they were joking back and forth, but whether the pressure came from the fan base, the media about Dak should be running, he should be doing this, doing that, and then he
and
runs,
then
and
he
then
hurt.
what I'm
The
saying.
pressure came from us, but that's why were we saying that though? We didn't have a run game. That's why we were saying that. Because we could not run the
Back.
ball. Now later we found out we could run the ball if we stuck with the run, but Mike McCarthy did not want to stick with the run. And in that
Right.
Falcons game, for some reason, Rico was going off, but Mike abandoned the run. And so
Yep.
Dak is a competitor. So eventually, and he knew in that Falcons game, like, bro, we cannot lose this game. So he's like, I'm gonna take off. Like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, and he went hard in that game. It wasn't just
No,
one
he was
run,
he was
two runs. He was going off. He
like
was
he
trying to
was
make up
trying to
for.
help us. He was trying to get us to where we need to go. And Dak was running in
Yeah.
2023. Personally, I don't feel like Dak needs to. He cannot run. I don't believe that. I think Dak's
Right.
issue, like this, goes back to the damn training staff. Our training staff is ass because
Talk about it.
when your hamstring tears off the bone, that means that like there's no flexibility or pliability in your muscle. So that's like Dak, you ain't doing your proper stretches. You ain't
Right.
stretching. You ain't doing proper, leg exercises and stretches and movements and stuff to make sure your stuff is moving. I looked at Dak this past offseason. I'm like, God, Dak looks jacked. Like he looks jacked.
Yeah.
Like he just been putting the muscle on. It's like Dak. You need some
Yeah.
pliability. He put too much damn muscle on, and that
But
shit ripped right off his freaking leg.
But to your point, sis, not just because you pointed it out, it kind of made me think of CD and Ferg because in off season we heard about CD and Ferg being in the weight room putting on more weight, but now we see CD with the shoulder. I know Ferg had the concussion, but he went out early. I think for his knee or his leg, lower leg injury. So. I'm saying and I think it's come out. I don't exactly remember where I heard, where I read it before. I think it came out during the season, but players talking about getting more training staff. Talking about the training staff being more attentive because you only have so many players that you can attend to at one point. So what I'm saying. So how can everybody get that fair equal attention? Of course you're going to focus on the guys who are actually going through rehab, but what about the guys that need to just you said just that continual training. What I'm saying. So these guys can stay on top of where they're supposed to be. If you're putting on more weight in the off season, you got to be able to maintain that during the season. So that way you don't have those injuries. And I'm not saying that the reason those injuries happen is because of the weight they put on. Of course, putting on weight is better so you can take those hits, so you can be more active on the field. But at the same time, you still have to keep up with that training to make sure that that like we mentioned like we mentioned before, it's a good balance in your body, so that way you're not trying to overcompensate and then the injury does
Exactly.
happen.
Like so, our training staff is bad. That's another thing. It's like Jerry, put more money toward our freaking training staff so that our players can stop getting hurt. Because there's no reason Dak's hamstring should have torn off his leg. That's what that
Right.
same
Not like
thing
that.
happened to Tyron Smith. It's like these players aren't doing the proper
It
proper
did.
exercise because you're putting football is like one of the most stressful sports on a person's body, and we're not
Yeah.
properly preparing our players to be able to withstand that beating. So now we got to be scared of injuries. I'm tired of it. Like, let's get some real
Yeah.
freaking people in here. Hopefully, that's something. Whoever our next head coach is, advocates like we need more staff, Jerry, because our players are
Yeah,
getting hurt. Our key players are getting hurt, and it's destroying our
yeah,
season. Like we can't keep up with this type of stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, how many players did we get hurt this year? That comes from not
yeah,
proper training. Is what it comes.
yeah, yeah. Starters and depth, and I think we've seen that as the years have
Yeah,
gone
it's
on.
so bad. It's
Yeah,
bad. Like our training staff is terrible. And maybe it's not that they're terrible, it's
yeah,
just too few of them.
yeah. Right. Exactly.
Let me not say it's
Exactly.
terrible, but it's terrible because we don't have the numbers to to properly oversee each player and make sure they're doing all they can to keep their body in peak condition.
Right. Because the main name we hear, is Britt Brown, but and shout out to him, but he's only one guy. You know what I'm saying? He may be the
He's one.
expert, but you may only have one. Yeah, you only have one expert amongst 10 guys. No disrespect, who know what they're doing, but they're looking to Britt. You know what I'm saying, to answer their questions, to let them know what to do. But he's only one guy. So I'm saying, so they can't give that proper training to that player if they don't know. I'm saying, like you said, that comes with hiring the right people, not just the guys you're buddy with, or your best friend for 20 years. Oh, come with me
I,
here, I'm going here. I'm saying, you got to guys hire the guys who actually have the
right.
credibility and actually the training,
And
know
the
what they're
thing is
doing.
with the training staff, like that's on Jerry and them. I don't know if they like with Britt Brown and they've been here for probably a decade. They've been here for a while. I was here before.
Yeah, a good
It's like
while.
Jerry,
Yeah.
we've got to upgrade. What's up, you goddess, the poet?
Hey, you
Appreciate
got this.
you jumping in. And
Yeah, Brian Smith as well. Yeah, we talked about
yeah,
that
we
at the
talked
beginning of the
about
show, about the
Brian.
two
Yeah, go
NFC
back.
teams in
We
the
definitely talked
championship.
about that for sure, which is a bummer for us for sure. But
Yeah. But yeah, you just kind of close out, you know what I'm saying? Like speaking on those two topics, seeing our division mates in the NFC championship is it's crazy, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely gonna be, I'm excited to see the matchup, this Sunday, and just
just
to see how,
enjoy.
how those just the, and I'll be honest, I've been, enjoying football,
Right,
not
it's
having to
stress
stress
free.
out about one of my teams. And that's one thing I want to mention, you know what I'm saying? We, our team, I took it personally because it was our team, or it was our fans, being screenshotted at the playoff game, looking bummed because our team came out and didn't play well. But we saw plenty of that in the wild card game and some of
Then you
these
get
for
the
these
wild
first round
card, the
games, the
divisional
Lions,
Ravens picking it
Chargers,
up again.
right?
Up
You feel me? But their fans weren't screenshotted, for being
exactly
disappointed. The Lion,
the
I'm saying, the
Lions.
Lions, they've been
That's
on
a
the tear
major
all season,
disappointment. I think the Ravens and the Lions, like those
right?
are major.
Yes, and they had the first
Yeah,
round
we're
bye, and they had the home field advantage.
right,
Remember, everything that was talked
right.
about
But
us.
we
I know we didn't have the first round,
exactly
but
says, but they're not memes, are they? This is what we have to
right,
talk about.
not
Like
at all. Herbert, what 2 years in a row, or I
2
know
years
it
in
wasn't
a
last
row.
year, but almost two. You know what I'm saying? Choked up in the playoffs, but he's elite. He's in the elite tier. Come on, what are we talking
Now we
about?
talk
Like,
about
y'all need to
Lamar.
stop. And no, that was on him. Golf as well, Darnold as well, interceptions. But no one's talking about that. You know what I'm saying? That's three quarterbacks. You know
They're
what I'm saying? We get our one quarterback talked about star. But these
quarterbacks,
three quarterbacks, you know what
quarterbacks
I'm saying?
completely folded with loaded teams. Like, be for real. Now they talk about
Loaded.
interceptions don't matter with Lamar Jackson. Oh, it doesn't matter. Erase those interceptions because he came through
Mm-hmm.
in the end. I'm like, excuse me, with
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with that one. Oh, Mark Andrews, he needs the blame. It's his fault. La, la,
now
la.
we blame
But
weapons
I
now.
know.
Now we breaking interceptions like
Yes. Oh, now he's blaming the receiver.
all of this
Oh,
stuff is
okay.
just bullshit. And it just proved to me this year that there is a clear, blatant bias against Dak. And if I was Dak
Facts.
personally, I would sue the NFL straight up. I'm suing you. Because it's like this shit is ridiculous. Like y'all took away a personal
Yeah.
accolade from me over some bullshit.
And then always using his name for clicks, always using his name for
Every time a quarterback
comparison.
messes up, oh, Sam Darnold's really Dak Prescott. Oh, Justin Herbert's really Dak Prescott. Or all this crazy shit. Like this is lame.
Bruh. Oh, Daniels made it further than Prescott in his
Right, and
first
we have
year.
main
What?
NFL accounts posting this shit. Like every time, oh, you see how fast them teams put out when the Commanders won? How fast everybody putting out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas
Quick.
Cowboys, like that's tired. It's tired.
They had those ready. They had
Right.
those ready, sis. They had them Giants ready on Friday night, just in case they beat the line. They had them Giants ready on Friday night, bro. Like they was ready
Exactly.
for that. Like and on the other side too, up and coming quarterbacks. I'm saying mobile
Always
quarterbacks. You know,
turning
before
around.
Dak had his injury, and so he could play like Prescott. He could be mobile like Prescott. Play action. It's like use his name for the good. Use his name for the bad. It's like you
It's
said,
just
like, but y'all don't show the
right. It's just
respect
no
though.
respect. It's no respect, and I'm sick of it. It's just ridiculous.
Right. The only player who's been booed at the Walter
Like
Payton, like he's the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's
food.
booed by Philly fans, but no one said anything. No
Right.
one
No
said,
one said
make sure you
it was
guys show respect. This is the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? No, they ain't say nothing. Let it be
right.
anybody else
Anybody
though.
else you will be having is classless, it's tasteless, and all of this type of stuff. But this Dak, let it
Thank you.
Dak
All
Prescott's
right.
getting booed.
And all he can, all he did was just put a smile on and kept it moving forward. Like that's the quarterback that we have, and that's why. And just speaking for me, I always stand on Dak because like I know Troy talked about the head coaching position being not a desired spot, but let's take a look at the quote unquote flack that Dak gets just being the quarterback.
It's no,
I'm saying without being
it's no
surrounded by
place like
weapons.
playing like for the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know what it is. That's a smart idea, Niecy, for sure. Because I mean,
For
if I
real
was Dak,
though.
I send these guys a cease and desist. Like Stephen A. Smith, it's like stop. Dan Orlovsky, don't say my name at all. Don't say my name at all.
Facts. Facts.
Because
Right. He hadn't even. He was out. What I think week 7, week 8, or was it when we played the Falcons? So he's been half the season where you had no reason to
there's
use
no
his
reason to be
name.
talking about Dak Prescott. Like Dak Prescott, not even in the playoffs. In every meme is that it's like the way that y'all are obsessed with this man is a.
It's crazy.
It was
It's crazy,
they
sis.
when people hated on Romo, they was not doing the same type of shit with Romo.
No,
Lamar
no.
Jackson, Dak Prescott got this Dak. Or Lamar got one more win to Dak. He's never gonna be the meme. Everybody, I've never seen so much glazing over Lamar, who literally turned the ball over a quarterback who turned the ball over 3 times. Now everybody, because they already gave him that MVP award, so they're like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Lamar, you're the best. Like all the media, you're the best quarterback. You're amazing. It's only a matter of time before you win. This happened. This happened to
Right.
Peyton Manning too. You're amazing. Love you. It doesn't matter. We don't care about your inner. What inner? What inner?
Right.
Like what?
Right. Yeah. It'd be one thing if he wasn't part of the problem. It'd be one thing, like Andre said, if he didn't fumble the
If he
ball.
didn't mess it up, he played lights out. But it's like this man turned the ball over 3 times, and literally when he's like, "I'm sick of this shit. Like I'm sick of making mistakes." You got media people. No, it wasn't on you. It wasn't on you. Ryan Clark off that. It wasn't on you. It was on
Right.
Mark Andrews. It wasn't on you. Stephen A. Smith. That game was in no way on Lamar. It was all on Mark Andrews. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't make this shit up, bro. But
Right.
he did say instantly needs to you right,
Right.
but I'm just so sick of
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
it.
Yeah.
It's like this is the
Yeah. But
criticism and it's just non freaking stop. But I always say the silver lining
yeah.
is Dak is my QB. He gonna be gone in about 3 to 4 years. And y'all gonna see what it's like without him. Y'all better hope your ownership looks up
For real.
again and gets them a actual quarterback. Or we gonna go to the winning 3 games a year. We're this close. This close
Yeah.
to literally being the complete laughing stock of the NFL. Like I'm
Right.
like,
Right. We don't have a coach yet, and they're barely looking like they're
it's
trying
like
to,
keeping us relevant. But once we
Right.
see y'all want to talk about Micah this and Micah that. We done seen teams with elite defenses like the Jets can't win no games. Win a single
Right.
game. So
Right.
all of this stuff y'all talk about, we're about 3 to 4 years away from being the laughing stock of the NFL. I hope y'all do that. And y'all better
Yeah.
pray to God that Jerry and Steven look into it because they can't evaluate quarterbacks. They cannot evaluate. So y'all better pray
Right.
that they look into another quarterback like Dak and Romo to help keep this franchise relevant. Because we're about 2 to 3 years away from being awesome.
Yeah, in my opinion, I thought they could have, at least tried to fix that this offseason. I mean, it was a perfect time, like my Michael said, for a reset. You know what I'm saying? You're losing guys on the coaching staff, losing players Why not? Hey, what's up,
Sure,
Kelvin? Thank
love
you
you
for
too.
joining us. Appreciate you. Make sure you hit that rewind on the way out. But yeah, like I said, it could have been an opportunity for them to try to start fresh, try to take a chance. But we see them going towards familiarity with talking about bringing Jason Witten on the staff, talking about going with Schottenheimer, as far as continuity. But I'm saying it's not a good indication when seeing Jerry still trying to
The
stay in his comfort zone and not really trying to
I
extend his
understand,
team.
I'm with the, I understand both sides of the coin. I actually really like. I'm not freaking out because I actually really like Brian Schottenheimer, and I was thinking about him being the head coach for us or taking over play calling in the season. So that's why I'm not in this panic mode about Brian Schottenheimer because I actually like him, and I actually think that he can actually help
Yeah,
us. But I do see everybody else's point. You didn't interview the best coaches in the hiring. Now, granted, I never wanted Ben Johnson, but whatever. He was the best coach, right, in this hiring. You didn't interview
yeah,
Ben Johnson. You didn't interview Aaron Glenn. You didn't interview
right.
who else was in here? The Bucks coordinator. He wasn't that great. Um, Liam Cohen or whatever. Nah. But yeah, pretty much you didn't interview the best candidates, which was Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. So I totally
Right.
get, why everybody is upset. I totally get people. Brian Schottenheimer just looks like a comfort pig, looks like another pushover. And I mean, granted, all of those feelings you're entitled to because y'all have fan base has zero faith in the front office. And so when you have a guy like Brian Schottenheimer who wasn't calling plays, like people want to say, well, why didn't nobody want him? He wasn't calling plays this year, guys. There was no like what
Right. He didn't really
he
show
wasn't calling plays.
like
Like
what
that's
his
how you get the way these coordinators get jobs is when they call plays. Nobody interviews a play call offensive coordinator that didn't call plays. So you have to think about that as well. But I still feel
yeah.
like, the other people that I would have wanted to interview, Bill Belichick, he's in UNC now. Deion Sanders, you're in Colorado. It was a long shot. Now, granted, Jerry could still hire one of these guys, but we already knew it was going to be a long shot because you got to pay a school $8 to $10 million to do that. You
Right.
got to pay a school just to be able to interview this, basically to interview him and hire him. So we already knew those was going to
Right.
be long shot. What's up, Law?
Hey, what's
What's up,
good,
Law?
Law?
We was blessed by
Appreciate you.
Law. This is the big
Appreciate
goat.
you.
We was blessed by the baby goat and Vox.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Right. Yeah, we talked about you earlier. Yeah, always dropping facts. So we talked about, Star brought you talking about Brian Schottenheimer and what he brings to the team. So thank you for always, dropping pertinent information and helping us
Absolutely. I
out.
really appreciate that, Law, 100%. I appreciate every content
Yeah.
creator, even though somebody who, maybe there's somebody watching who didn't comment. I really appreciate that. Anybody who's here
Yeah.
supporting us, we appreciate it. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that I totally get the fan base sentiments, and I do feel like with Brian Schottenheimer, he is boomer bust. He's either gonna be the guy who nobody thought of. He's either gonna be our diamond in the rough, who everybody thought is ass, and he gonna come here and he gonna
Yeah, good.
revolutionize our franchise, and we gonna be like, what the? Or he's gonna
Right.
be terrible. Like I don't really see a middle ground. I see he gonna
Right.
change us around, and we get into an NFC championship where we gonna barely win.
Right back at
Yeah,
square
so
one.
we
You know what
we
I'm
gonna
saying?
see. And
So
again, we don't know. He has not been hired yet. I think personally, Jerry's probably gonna try to drag this out at least to Super Bowl weekend. I would assume. It's
yeah.
putting pressure on your scouts, though. The longer you wait for your head coach, this really is putting pressure on these guys. But I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see what Jerry and them do. I know the Shrine Bowl is next week. That means Dion is gonna come to AT&T. So maybe Jerry talks to
Okay.
Dion then. I still think they are going
Yeah.
to talk. If Jerry hasn't made a decision by the Shrine Bowl, I do think that him and Dion will have one of those. It ain't gonna be a formal interview, but they're gonna have one of them long all night talks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically seeing like, okay, should we
Maybe feeling
right
them out.
if we don't have no announcement before then. So the Senior Bowl is January 30th. So that is next. That's next
Yeah. Yeah.
Thursday.
It's coming
Yeah,
week.
that's next Thursday.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see
Yeah. That.
how it goes and how this whole thing plays out. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But even with the head
Yeah.
coach pick, it's all gonna come down to what type of team are you building, Jerry? Because we do have a lot of free agents. We got more free agents that are going, and people that need contracts. So this is a big off season for the Dallas Cowboys. This is probably one
Yeah.
of the biggest
Yeah.
off
Huge.
seasons that they've had in years. Um, so we'll see what they do. But right now, fan base has faith level is on zero. Fan level is on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they bring in a guy that the fans aren't
Right.
necessarily excited
Fans,
about. They could see even
fans,
less. Even less
correct.
participation
Fans
next
are
year.
not enthused about Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer is going to have to show the fans that he's the guy.
Yeah.
Instead of us believing that he's the guy. When Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson, we're gonna say innocent. If we hired them, we would say innocent until proven guilty because we love them and they're shiny and they're great and they look amazing. They look like the best coaches, first ballot Hall of Fame coaches. You know what I'm saying right now. We'll see what they
Right.
do with their new organizations. But Brian Schottenheimer, I said Brian Schottenheimer, he's not the eye candy. You know how you got eye candy people who
Yeah.
was like everybody wants them because they look so good. He's not the eye
Hmm.
candy. He's more of the person who's like maybe they're not a 10, but they're a solid like 7.5 to like 8.
Yeah.
They do everything for you. They make you feel loved. They good in
That's
bed. Those type. The loyal ones,
uh-uh.
the ones
You
you're like, oh,
crazy.
y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know. So it's like you may not be a 10 or a 9,
Right.
but you're a
That
strong
personality. That personality
guy.
coming
The
across. You know what I'm
personality,
saying?
exactly. And we all know
Right.
personality can.
Yeah, and I was talking about that earlier. Schottenheimer, he speaks very well. Maybe
Right.
he can kind of I don't want to say gloss him over, but what I'm saying, he talks about his experience a lot in past organizations. So I'm sure he's going to use that as a good crutch, to explain why
Exactly.
his experience.
Exactly. He tell you the right thing. So that's the type of person that Schottenheimer is. Like, but no, is
Right,
he is he the type that when he walks down the street, everybody wants to know? He's not.
right,
He's not. But that personality grow on you, especially for females. We be like,
exactly,
I wasn't into you, but I'm now into you. Like looks wise,
right,
I wasn't into you like that.
right. Can I spend some time with you? I mean, like you said, you spent 3 hours
Exactly.
on the phone with him. I'm saying 3 hours in the interview. Shoot,
To him, and now you spend
2 interviews. Shoot,
exactly. You spend a lot of time with them. Then they start telling you the right thing. Then they start doing what they say they're gonna do. Then, like I said, they put it down. You fall in love. Like this is what I'm saying. So we just
right,
gotta see how Brian is. We don't know. Right now, he's looking like a dud. He's looking like boo. We're a clown franchise. Jerry and Steven will never change. But I don't know. And you can put Niecy's comment before we close out. She right. She said, truth be told, Jerry always looks into a diamond in the rough. Boss
right,
talked about this too. Boss said, we are a franchise that for some reason, we don't know why. I don't know why, but we seem to fumble forward.
right,
We seem
right,
to fumble forward. So right now, Jerry, you're looking like an idiot if you hire
right.
Brian Schottenheimer. And the fan base, they already melted down. So once they see hired, it's going to be a full meltdown. People will start burning their Cowboys jerseys and hats.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's attendance. He gonna see it. They
but,
said it wasn't that
but
a lot of people in the
we
games
start
last year.
winning.
So
We start winning. We win big games. Everybody going, let me go get my jersey out the closet. That's how it's going to
right,
be.
right.
You just have to see. But anyway, we really
Yeah.
appreciate all of y'all.
Yes. Thank you everybody for coming through.
Really, y'all always are great. Y'all talk to us a lot. We always have so many different people in here, like new people and stuff. So we really appreciate y'all rocking with us. Please if you haven't already liked the video,
Yes.
share the video so people can watch it on replay. And please subscribe to our YouTube channels if you haven't already. Mine is Stargazer Sports. And Mickey's is Craven Cowboys. So
Hmm.
y'all definitely can follow us. And then you see our Cash App down there below. If y'all feel so kind to donate to us, anything would help. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Like Star was saying, thank you guys for joining us. It's Wednesday. Make sure you guys catch up with us again next week. Hopefully, like she said, we'll have some decisions, coming forward, or we'll see how the games end this weekend. We'll see what division mate makes it to the Super Bowl, and we'll definitely be talking about that next week. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
Hopefully,
we're gonna be talking about that next week for sure.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, like someone said in the comments, they both can lose. You know what I'm saying? So,
I would love for that.
Right, right. Just come down to a tie.
Let it be AFC AFC versus AFC football.
right. Just one time NFL. Just do it this one time this year. Just that's
That
all
would
you gotta
be
do. Then go back to go back to normal next year, y'all.
yeah, that would be great for them to be.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you everybody for joining us. Really appreciate everybody coming through. Love you guys. See you guys next week. All right.
All
Try
right.
playing the outplay, but I'm not sure what happened.